and welcome everyone to yet another episode of this podcast, Upfront and Personal. Here is your host, Ananya, all set to become all upfront and personal with each and every one of you listening. Hi, you guys. I hope you all are having a good day. I hope you all are being safe. I hope you all are trying to, keep yourself sane and not being too hard on yourself. I understand, just even to come here and say that I hope you all are having a great day in these troubled times is sort of like an oxymoron, and I feel like whenever I say this sentence, I am pointing out the irony of the situation. But we all have to do what we gotta do to keep ourselves above the waters, to keep ourselves put. And I'm not saying that force that positivity on ourselves, but our mental health and our mood needs to be in a proper pristine shape right now, and we need to do whatever we need to do in this situation. And that is why wanted to make this episode. For the past few episodes, I had been tackling a little bit of heavy topics like COVID and mental health, and I'm in the process of making an entire episode where different people from different walks of life would come and talk about their mental health in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, and it's definitely going to be one of the heaviest episodes that I've ever produced. But the thing is that because we are talking about so many heavy things, and social media and news and everything is just so heavy and gloomy, I felt like an episode like this was very, very necessary. An episode where I talk about all the feel good content that I resort to when I feel bad, when I feel low, when I feel not in the best shape mental health wise. And it's funny, the inspiration of making this podcast was actually a meme. Now, before you cancel me for becoming too frivolous or for saying too many frivolous stuff, just hear me out. There was this meme where there were two cartoon characters, and there's this one cartoon character who was feeling really restless, and he wanted to do something recreational to feel good. But he says to the other one that, listen, I don't want to feel relaxed because it's a blessing and it's a privilege that I don't have the disease right now, and I don't want to waste my time, I don't know, just watching stuff and just doing things that make me feel happy, because they seem so inconsequential and they seem so frivolous when you sort of match it with the situation, with the pandemic. And the other cartoon character says, do you think you would be using your time to do something else so that you can be helpful to someone else? And he said, not really. I mean, I try to help as much as I can, but not every time. It's not like that I have to be available every time. So he says that, yes, then use that time to relax. You cannot be of help to anyone if you are not relaxed enough. If you are yourself struggling with your own issues, you would not be able to help other people with their issues. And sometimes I feel like, and that's what I've been feeling for the past, I think, 2 weeks or so, that we are going through, as a community, we are going through something very, very close to mom guilt. A lot of young moms have said to me that whenever, after they have had a kid, no matter how of an active and beautiful social life they have had before, no matter if they have a job, a flourishing career, so many different interests, when their kids are small, no matter what they do, no matter even if they go out for a lunch with their friends, and even though in the back of their minds they know they have made necessary arrangements for their kids are not going to be in a disadvantageous situation because they choose to go out on a lunch with their friends. They still feel guilt because they feel like in the phase of life that they are in, they need to continue doing something or the other for other people. And I think that's what we are feeling right now. No matter whatever we do, even if we laugh, even if we have an entertaining conversation, there is some kind of guilt and some kind of anxiety that creeps in. And I completely get that. And I definitely motivate you guys to come out of that, quote unquote, mom guilt or pandemic guilt that I call it. And I'm not telling you to go out on a lunch with your friends. That's the last thing I want you to do right now. But if nothing else, you can watch some content to make yourself feel a little bit good, make yourself feel a little bit content. And I completely understand that I am sort of pre-assuming before even saying these things that you would have a Netflix connection, or you would have, HBO or Hotstar or Amazon Prime, stuff like that. I completely get it. And it's even a privilege to have these subscriptions. I have a lot of these subscriptions, and still, I don't feel like plugging in sometimes because of whatever is happening around us. But even taking into account that privilege, I feel like if you can take a subscription from someone, or if you already have it, or if you want to just go and invest in one of them, and just watch anything that makes you feel good. These are 20 shows, movies of various languages that I like to watch, whether it's Hindi, English. I mean, it's majorly Hindi and English. That always brings me into a good mood, into a peppy mode, and I always end up feeling a little bit better than I was feeling before I pressed play on these shows and movies. So let's just get started. Here are some useful recommendations for all of you. Do not feel the COVID guilt, the pandemic guilt, before pressing the play. It's fine if you want to press the play and watch something light and feel good. Number one recommendation is this movie called Bright Wars. It's an Anne Hathaway movie. I'm a huge Anne Hathaway fan. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's very light. It's two brides. It's two friends who are friends from childhood, and they're very different in nature. That's usually how friends are portrayed in cinema, anyways. And one of them is very feisty, and one of them is really docile. And they both get engaged around the same time. And from when they were very, very small, they wanted to get married in this plaza. And the entire basis of the film is that it is the fantasy of women usually to have a certain kind of wedding. They not only dream about their marriage, they also dream about their wedding venue, the kind of flowers they want. They both knew that they wanted to get married in the plaza. They both wanted a June wedding since they were little girls. And their wedding gets booked in the plaza on the same day. Yes, my friend. And because of that, there is a huge tussle that comes, between the two friends. And I have seen this movie. I have seen this movie like multiple times. All of these things that I'm going to recommend you, by the way, I've watched them all, but they are my feel-good content. I love going back to it. And I have watched this movie so many times in the past few years that I remember the outfits. I remember the wedding dresses. I remember what happens after what scene. I remember the coach bag that Anne Hathaway carries in almost every scene. Yes, it's a coach bag. I know it because I googled it and I've pinned it on my Pinterest. Yes, that's how much I love this. Go watch it. I think it's on Hotstar. Go watch it. Or on Amazon Prime, one of these. Second is Devil Wears Prada. Obviously, I'm going to recommend Devil Wears Prada. I love it. I love everything about this movie. It is peppy. It has a lot of fashion involved. I love movies that have a little bit fashion or careers based in fashion involved. And again, it's an Anne Hathaway movie, but I don't really watch this for Anne Hathaway, and it's difficult to not watch an Anne Hathaway movie or a show, not for her but for someone else. And you know who I watch it for. I watch it for Miranda Priestley. I watch it for Meryl Streep. I watch it for that monologue that she gives on Blue Color. I love how she says, "Flowers for spring, groundbreaking." I love everything about her, and obviously I love Emily Blunt in that. It's a movie where this girl in her, I think, early 20s, who is an aspiring journalist. She goes and she takes up an assistant job in fashion world. And even though the kind of work culture that Miranda Priestley, which is the boss played by Meryl Streep, the kind of work culture that she portrays and she sort of expects in her workplace is something that I have a lot to say against, and I would never be able to grow well or be feel positive about myself in that kind of workplace. But still, I love how she has portrayed it. I love Meryl Streep. I absolutely adore her, love her. I think she's a great human being and a great actress. I just, still I ended up hating her, coming from a fan like me. And all the clothes, all the, shirts from the streets of, I think, New York. I think it's based in New York. And all the complete... see, I don't know how do you say it, like the set of scenes in which after the makeover, Anne Hathaway wears these coats and these Chanel bags and these fashionable boots. I love this. Oh, it's called a montage. I love that montage. Even when the film starts and there are a lot of models or people, different women working in this sector of fashion, they wear all these boots and handbags and stuff like that. I'm like, I remember every routine, every person's earrings, those burgundy boots. Oh my god, I have pinned them on my Pinterest as well. I love that movie. Go check it out. It is on Hotstar, I think. Go check it out. Third is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, this is a show that's based in New York. Of course, it's called Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, so, I don't know, man. I was really late to the bandwagon of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. One of the funniest shows that I think have been created ever. Um, my friends suggested it to me multiple times, but I never got around to watch it because all the characters are in police force. So I thought it would be sort of a mystery show, and I wanted to watch a sitcom or a light-hearted anything. And then people said, in the beginning of, I think, 2020 or at the end of 2019, my friends really recommended it to me, and then I binged watched it. Oh, what a show. Jake Peralta, Amy Santiago, Rosie Diaz, Charles, Terry, Holt, amazing characters and the kind of one-liners, and it makes it even more beautiful and peppy that there is no laugh track. So there is no laugh track, basically banging on your head saying that, listen, you laugh on this line or you don't laugh on this line. I don't want that. I am an intelligent audience. I understand where to laugh or where to not. I don't want those punchlines or funny scenes to sort of piggyback on laugh track. I don't like it. I think I've only liked it in Friends. But there are many shows that are doing it very, very brilliantly, even without laugh tracks, and are so genuinely funny. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of them. Go watch it for Jake Peralta and Amy Santiago's love story, for Terry being the absolute badass and still one of the most sweetest and emotional characters that I've seen, for just the badass Rosa Diaz, but still a softie, and I think the same thing goes for Holt. So please go watch it. It's beautiful. It just, even one episode of it, all the episodes are around 20-25 minutes long. All the episodes just put you in a instant good mood. At least it happens with me. I understand that it's 7 seasons, and if you have never watched it, it would be a lot to start it, because I completely get it. Starting a show with multiple seasons can be overwhelming, and I have felt that too. I have been there as well. So if you don't feel like watching like all 7 seasons altogether, at least watch one season and see how you like it, and then you take your decision. There is no shame in dropping off a show. I should say that to Netflix, by the way. There is shame in dropping Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Netflix, hope you're listening. I know they're not, but whatever. You can watch 6 seasons on Netflix, and I think the 7th season is also on Netflix. I think so. Go watch it. Fourth is One Day at a Time. Again, a show that I'm really mad with Netflix for dropping. One Day at a Time is a beautiful show about this American Cuban family, and I started watching it because I started learning Spanish, by end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020, and I wanted to watch it. It's just 3 seasons, and then there are 6 episodes in the 4th season, which you have to go watch it through some kind of jugaad, basically. But 3 seasons are on Netflix. It's an amazing show. It talks about a lot of very funny, very funny things, but and also very serious things in a very funny and catchy way. It talks about homosexuality, coming out, the kind of politics that America has through the through its immigrants, the kind of Cuban politics that you and I would not really know unless we have read about it consciously. And of course, a lot of other things like generation gap, like debates on religion, the entire point of mental health, addiction, alcoholism, a lot of heavy issues, but it never feels heavy. It always feels subtle, it always feels amazing, and it feels like you're part of the family when you're looking at them. I especially really like this character, which is what's his name? He's a doctor, and he's in love with the grandmother Lydia, and he's amazing. He's divorced, he's estranged with his kids, and his kids only ring him up when they need money, but he is Dr. Leslie, his name is Leslie, which is also sort of like a funny track in the show because he's a man and his name is Leslie, whatever. But the kind of loneliness that that he experiences, he says in one of the episodes, I feel so lonely and thank you for inviting me to this thing. I have also watched Netflix. So they said, oh, what show did you watch? He's like, no, all of the Netflix. He's so lonely that he has watched everything that's on Netflix, and it's hilarious. But it's a classic example of how the show hits the nail on the head on topics as complicated as loneliness, as complicated as depression and being estranged from your family and loved ones, but also giving it sort of a comic tone that you first laugh and then you're like, oh shit, he's so lonely. And he's such a sweet character, and I've been into his place in some sort of way in my past, so I completely get it. Do watch it one day at a time. Fifth is an Indian movie, and if you are a Bollywood watcher, I'm sure you've watched it. It's the OG. It's the funniest movie ever Bollywood has ever made or envisioned. It's Hera Fairy, you guys. It's Hera Fairy. And say whatever you have to, Hera Fairy 1 is 1,000 times better than Hera Fairy 2. Or Fir Hera Fairy, whatever it is. Hera Fairy, watch it for Paresh Rawal. Just watch it for Paresh Rawal. Yes, I know Sunil Shetty is also there, Akshay Kumar is also there, Tabu is also there. Watch it for him, alright. Watch it for Paresh Rawal, watch it for his one-liners. There has never been a better comedy movie in Bollywood. This movie will instantly put you in a good mood, and you will watch it and you will understand why. And if you have already watched it, I don't think I have to speak more about it. Go watch it. Go watch Hera Fairy for the 100th time now. Go watch it. But don't log off the podcast. Like, keep listening to me. I'll watch it afterwards. Sixth is another sitcom. It's Sex and the City. I love the show. It has 6 seasons. It I think it aired a decade back. But I love all the women in the show. And I love how they have... of course, the show has a, feminist undertone. But it doesn't seem too heavy. It doesn't seem to, banging on your head with lessons. Nothing like that. It shows women in 4 very real situations. There are 4 women at the center of the show. One is Carrie, one is Miranda, one is Samantha, and one is Charlotte. And Miranda is a lawyer, and she is a very pragmatic woman. She's very ambitious. She wants to be a partner at a law firm as soon as possible. And, she has her own struggles because of that. Like, for example, when she goes to buy a flat, everybody, asks her, listen, where's the down payment coming from? Father, husband, fiance, and she just proudly looks at the flat and says, just me. And it's amazing how many times she has been asked that question. She also goes through a lot of, ups and downs of through her love life, through her friendships. And she's one of the characters that you don't really like when you first watch the show. But when you're in the middle of the show, you're like, being Miranda is my life goal. I love her. I absolutely love her. The other one is Samantha, which is the Sex in the Sex and the City. She's an amazingly, fiercely independent single woman. And I think she defines the word fabulous. I can't describe Samantha in words. You have to go watch it. Then there is Carrie, who is played by Sarah Jessica Parker, who is also the producer. And hence, she's sort of the lead of the show. There are 4 leads, but she's the bona fide genuine lead. Basically, she's the Harry Styles in One Direction. I would not say more. And of course, Samantha is the Zayn Malik. If you know about the entire drama, you would know what I'm talking about. But Sarah Jessica Parker basically is Carrie, who is a troubled woman. She's a writer. She writes a column for newspaper. There are a lot of things that don't match, and I feel like a little bit unrealistic in the way her life is portrayed. Like how can she gobbles smack, like she literally gobbles a lot of junk food throughout the show multiple times a day, still remains like the 0 figure. Then she wears designer clothes, designer bags, designer shoes, and always in some kind of financial pithole. There are a lot of things like we can't imagine how they can finance and how they can afford that apartment in Friends. Similarly, absolutely similarly, you don't really, things don't add up with Carrie's lifestyle. But it's not about the lifestyle. If you ignore all those things, the way Carrie is the most imperfectly, or like the most perfectly imperfect woman, that really says a lot, because we have all been there in some sort of way. We are not Carrie always, but we are not Miranda always, we are not Samantha always, we are not Charlotte always, but I think every woman is an embodiment of all four of them. And even though there are some aspects that we don't like about us, and we are too hesitant to admit that, listen, in this particular department I'm like Carrie or I'm like Charlotte, you are like that. And there is one woman that you see in that show who is owning that kind of life, and that's her own personality. So yeah, it sort of validates your own feelings about yourself, and I think Sex and the City has done it very wonderfully. And of course, the fourth character is Charlotte, who is sort of like a girl next door who feels like, listen, my husband has to be this way, and I have to have this um, Upper East Side apartment, and my husband needs to look a certain way, this and that, and love is real, and a woman is not complete without men. And it's beautiful, the kind of graph or the kind of growth that Charlotte goes into, especially with her relationship with Harry. I would not reveal too much, but I would definitely recommend you to go watch it. There are also 2 movies following the 2 6 seasons, but you can safely skip them unless you want to know the more of the story. But yeah, especially the second movie is horrendously bad. But you can catch the show on both the movies on Hotstar. It's amazing. Oh, no. Yes, on Hotstar. I don't know why I retracted the statement. Number 7th is The Bold Type. Now, The Bold Type is a Netflix show, and it is about 3 women who are working in a magazine, and how I've spoken a lot about The Bold Type in this episode that I did. In March, there is this entire week where I was talking about topics related to feminism, and I did this episode on 3 sitcoms or 3 shows that got this absolutely correct, that got feminism and the issues surrounding women absolutely correct and bang on. And I actually very specifically mentioned Bold Type. Bold Type is amazing. It's called, quote unquote, the most woke show that there is. I'm not going to use that word, but it's a feminist show, and it talks about 3 women who are working in a magazine. But I don't really watch it for the kind of things that it got it right. Of course, I watch it for them in some another situation. But when I want the Bold Type to cheer me up or to prep me up, I watch it for their outfits. I'm not going to feel guilty about admitting it. I watch it for their outfits. I watch it, these girls, they get up every morning and they look so good and they go to the office. The kind of corporate culture that I aspire to be a part of when I took my job. And I was a part of all of this. It's not like I looked fabulous every day. I did not. But I loved, getting up in the morning, taking the public transport, have a heavy bag in your hands, and you go and you rush to your table, and then you start your day, and you become this fierce and independent woman that I was. I still am, but I don't go to office. And sometimes I just watch it just to relive those days. I know I'm being dramatic, but it sometimes, peps me up, especially in the times of pandemic. Yeah, I love going to office, and I would love if work from home can end, but I don't see it ending anytime soon. But I can live vicariously through the show, and it's amazing. The Bold Type has 3 women. One is in a writer, one is in the field of social media, and the other one is in the field of fashion. And the way they all build each other and the way they all support each other is amazing to listen to, and it's amazing to see. Go watch Bold Type. 8th one is Mom. It's a CBS show. I think it's on Amazon Prime. If you're not watching Mom and you like sitcoms, you like these sitcoms that are built around women, I think you definitely need to go watch it. It's about a group of 7 women who come from different walks of life but are facing and struggling with addiction in some or the other way. And these women are also related to each other in sort of like relations like mother and daughter, and their families are also portrayed. The kind of effects and addiction, no matter what kind of addiction that it is, whether it's gambling or whether it's alcohol or drugs, any kind of those addictions, the after effects that it has on the person, as well as on that person's relationship, on that person's career, on that person's families. It, I think, broadened the horizons of my mind, and it taught me a lot about addiction, but also made me really, really laugh my ass off. And it's a brilliant show. It's a brilliantly funny show. It's sad that it's ending. Its 8th season is ending right now. Only 3 episodes are left, and I'm going to watch the third last episode tonight. But definitely go watch it. I think it's amazing. Ninth is Sara Pie. What's a Sara Pie? You know what I'm talking about. If you are someone who is Indian, if you are someone who watches Indian shows, if you have not watched Sara Pie, I would recommend you to stop wasting your life and go watch it. I'm going to be this brutal. Go watch Sara Bhai. What you doing? Go watch it. It's amazing. It's on Hotstar, I think. It was a Star show, so it's on Hotstar, and it's you have to watch Maya Sarabhai for her one-liners, for her saris, for her impeccable style. You have to watch Satish Sarabhai for her name is not Satish. Indravardhan Sarabhai. Okay, his name is Satish Shah in real life. Indravardhan Sarabhai for his comic timing. You have to watch Sahil Sarabhai just suffer in silence because he's the only sane person in the situation. You have to go watch Rosesh Sarabhai for his impeccable talent in poetry and acting. And you have to watch Monisha Sarabhai because let's face it, we all are Monisha Sarabhais just trying to somehow become Maya Sarabhai but failing in the end and just accepting the Monisha Sarabhai in us. It's beautiful show. These are all characters, by the way, of the show. If you have not watched it, I would highly recommend it. It's an Hindi show. Like Hera Fairy is the comedy OG film in India, in the Hindi cinema. I would really say, I would go on a limb and actually say that it's one of the most intelligent shows made in the genre of comedy in Hindi. So go watch it. It's amazing. The 10th one is Ba Bahu or Baby. I don't know. Please don't judge me if you don't watch it and if you have never watched it. But Ba Bahu or Baby was something that I grew up watching. It's also a star show, and Ba Bahu or Baby and Sarabhai actually have the same makers, the Hats Off Productions basically. And I love the show. I think that show aired in like 2007, 8 or something. And it still was way ahead of its times. I think it was an amazing show. Please go watch it. I think the kind of issues that they addressed and the kind of understanding and love and also a very complex issues in a family that they sort of portrayed. Yes, through a lens of middle class family. Yes, not exactly a kind of family setup that you and I might necessarily come from. Still, I'm sure a lot of issues that they touched upon, a lot of them we can also relate to. So definitely go watch it. I think it's amazing. It's something, especially if not Baba or Baby, if you used to watch an OG show in your childhood and now it's off air, go watch it on whatever OTT platform that you can get it from right now. We have internet to our disposal, and please go watch it because it takes you to simpler times. It takes you to non-complicated times, and those OG shows really hold a special kind of place in our heart. And whenever you are feeling a little bit gloomy or sad because of the pandemic, go watch things that that used to bring you happiness, and I'm sure they'll bring happiness to you again. 11th one is Modern Family. Again, a show with a lot of seasons. So I mean, you can take it with a bit of salt. You can try out the first season, but if you used to watch Modern Family, if you have watched it, I would definitely recommend going back to it. It's an amazingly beautiful show with a lot of modern family situations, quote unquote, involved. There are 3 families. One is a step family, like there are a lot of like step relations in that family. The second one is a family where there's a homosexual couple who is raising a child, and they have their own hilarious points. And the other one is a nuclear family, just a heterosexual couple. They have 3 kids in their teenage years, and it's a very beautiful show. And this show, when I started watching, it had 5 or 6 seasons, and I always started postponing it. I'm like, I'm not watching it, it's too many seasons. But once I started watching it, I just binged watched the show in like, I think 2 weeks or something. It's very beautiful. I think you watch it. It also does not have a laugh track, and again, as I said, a show doesn't really have to piggyback on a laugh track to be funny. And I'm not going to say go watch it because I think I've said it too many times in this episode already, but please go watch it. The 12th one is Emily in Paris. Yes, you should have seen this coming. I've recommended Devil Wears Prada and Sex and the City before. I think the Sex and the City and Emily in Paris also have similar, like, same makers or writers, something like that. Emily in Paris only has one season, and you can literally finish the entire show in 3 hours, and watch it for just the streets of Paris. The kind of, if you are a fashion enthusiast like me, go watch it for her clothes, the kind of fashion that has been portrayed in the entire show. Yes, there are a lot of questionable choices, and yes, a lot of things are offensive and they do not sort of make sense in the show. But and it is a controversial show, but it is a feel good cheesy show to just watch in fun. You don't really have to apply a lot of mind in that. And I think the makers also expect us to not apply our minds, because clearly they didn't apply theirs. It's not an intelligent show, it has a lot of loopholes, but still a easy breezy show to watch. And if nothing, just watch for the insane gorgeousness of Gabrielle. You'll know what I'm talking about when you start watching the show. It's on Netflix. The 13th one is it's a little bit okay, it's a little bit strange to recommend this, but I'm really liking watching what's in my bag videos on YouTube, especially the ones that Vogue does, where there are different celebrities. They bring their bag, and obviously it's a very famous designer bag, and they start pulling out these things that they have in their bag. Usually they have the normal stuff like their wallet and keys and their glasses and whatnot, but still it's so much fun to watch. I love watching it, and I don't know, it's sort of a guilty pleasure. I don't know what I find fascinating about what's in my bag videos, but it is something that I love watching. It's sort of a guilty pleasure, as I said. So if you want to watch anything as silly and as sort of inconsequential or frivolous like that as well on YouTube or any OTT platform, feel free to watch it. The other one is also sort of like that. I love watching morning and nighttime routine videos. I think they are somehow relaxing. And of course, I understand nobody has a morning and nighttime routine like YouTubers show on their videos. Like nobody every day nobody goes and wears this silk robe, and nobody's house is completely white. Nobody lights these candles in the night, and they have this gorgeous bed. And in the morning, nobody just jumps out of the bed on one single alarm and then just proceeds to make their bed with a lot of meticulousness, and then they drink like a whole jug of smoothie and work out like a beast. Nobody has that kind of time, nobody has that kind of energy, nobody's mental health is popping like that. But I still somehow, it's a guilty pleasure again, I still sort of enjoy the stupidity of these videos. I don't know, I find them a little bit frivolous, but I still enjoy them. Go watch them. 15th is, you know it. It's ZNMD. I have talked about this film so many times before on my podcast. ZNMD, which is Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, is a Hindi Bollywood movie. I love that movie. It's the scenic beauty of Spain. It's the beauty of friendships. It's the relatability of the movie, or I don't know, maybe it's Katrina Kaif just riding motorcycle. I love that movie. It's bewildering and it's confounding, but it's also beautiful. How Zoya Akhtar can touch so many emotions of us in so many ways. And I like all her movies. I'm a huge Zoya Akhtar fan, but ZNMD would always have a very, very special place in my heart. Especially, I loved the entire track that Hrithik Roshan goes through. And I hope I never became somebody that Kalki Kekla became in that movie. Especially, when my married life or that kind of phase in my life starts. I dread not to be someone like that, and I want to be, inside we all want to be as cool as Katrina Kaif is in that movie. But yeah, definitely go watch that. 16th is Good Luck. Good Luck is a web series. It's on Sony Live. I think that's the only recommendation that is on Sony Live. I hate Sony Live. But it's a very annoying platform and also shockingly expensive. Anyways, Good Luck is a very beautiful, simple series on middle class lives, and it talks about this middle class family where they are parents and they have their two sons, both of them one is in their teenage, one is in, I think, his early 20s, and they're both going through their own different struggles. but the kind of things that they talk about, like rebuilding the house and seeing how much it will cost, and then just, changing the course of the conversation, like having an emergency light, um, having a courtyard, having a TV which is not flat screen, having a remote that still has the wrapper on, and convincing the parents to buy new clothes because they never buy new clothes. All of those things just really would appeal the OG middle class person in your heart. And there are a lot of things, that we feel we take for granted, and especially in times like these times have taught us nothing but to not take everything for granted. And Good Luck also sort of teaches us the same lesson, but definitely with a less hard hand, in a lesser cruel medium. I love Good Luck for doing that. I love Good Luck for just reminding us of OG middle class things. It's just beautiful, and we still live like that. We still very much live like that. My family and I, we are as simple and as middle class as it can get, and Good Luck is just, it just hits too close to our home. I think my mother and I, we just binge watched Good Luck, and it's very difficult to binge watch anything with my mother. She starts feeling sleepy as soon as you even hit the half mark of an episode. But we binge watched it in a couple of days, and she immensely loves it. We are all in love with the show. Go watch it. 17th is a little bit weird, you might say that. It's Hum Tum. Hum Tum is a movie of these two young people, which are portrayed by Rani Mukherjee and Saif Ali Khan. They are the classic example of opposites attract. They meet in different phases of their life, and Saif Ali Khan, who is a cartoonist in the movie, who's the guy, he portrays both of them as two cartoon characters because he's a cartoonist, as I said. And those two cartoon characters are named Hum Tum. I don't know. I find something appealing about that movie. I anyways really like to go watch uncomplicated and easy breezy content when I'm feeling a little bit sad, and all my go to feel good content is like that. And Hum Tum just clearly satisfies the criteria very brilliantly. I think Hum Tum is such an easy breezy movie, but still also a very very good movie. Like the acting and the subplots, they are not frivolous or anything. FYI, if you not know already, Saif Ali Khan got the Best Actor National Award for this movie. Forget Filmfare Award. He got a National Award. Dear God. Yeah. 18th, I'm sure this is a feel-good movie for all you Bollywood watchers out there. It's Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. I am not a fan of Karan Johar or his directorial ventures, but definitely Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is something that I relate to max. I definitely think that Amitabh Bachchan emotionally blackmailed almost every person in his life, especially his family members. I think he was a way too archaic person of a way too archaic and patriarchal mindset, and he would be definitely difficult to live with in any capacity whatsoever, as a husband, as a father, as a whatnot. I did not like his character, but still, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is somebody that gave us Pooh, that gave us all these iconic songs, that they gave us, Anjali in the form of Kajol, who is very different and I think a lot less annoying than Anjali in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. If you know, you know. Especially the entire consequence about her knocking down vases, knocking down gamlas, is something that cracks me up still. I still go watch just that footage on YouTube, and it's amazing. If you have not watched Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and you don't watch Bollywood in general, I think Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum would be a great segue for you. 19th is, I think, the most controversial recommendation that I've given till now. It's not a very famous movie, but I love all going to it and watching it again and again. It is Baar Baar Dekho. The movie flopped. People talk a lot of rubbish about it. But because I'm such a fan of time travel movies, and I think A Time Traveler's Wife is something that I absolutely love and adore. I love that movie. I love that book. So Baar Baar Dekho is something that, of course, I went to watch it because I like that other movie. But it has sort of become my feel-good movie now. Does not require much of a brain. You don't really have to understand what's happening, but you do understand. People say that it's actually very complicated to understand the time travel in Bar Bar Dekho. It's actually not. I have Bar Bar Dekho'd the F out of Bar Bar Dekho. It's amazing movie, I think. I watch it for Katrina Kaif's abs. I watch it for its songs, of course, Pratik Kuhar. And of course, I watch it for the performances. I really like, I think the cinematography is amazing. I think even though, they go through different stages of time, they become old, they are also shown as teenagers. I mean, the two lead characters, Siddharth Malhotra and Katrina Kaif. But the looks team has completely gotten everything to the T. So I absolutely adore the movie. I think you should watch it. Yeah, don't be too hard on this movie. I love this movie. And the 20th and the ultimate recommendation that I'm gonna give it to you is Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. You know it is coming. You know it, right? You didn't know? Okay then. I love Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. I love it for Ranveer Kapoor's and Deepika Padukone's couple, like a pair on the screen. I think they make an extremely good looking couple. I think the kind of chemistry that they have is very inspirational, and I think I've not seen a lot of couples look this good and act this good together. So definitely go watch it. I think the entire scenario of Ye Ilahi, when he goes through like Paris and other European countries and he shoots, I think it's the ultimate travel song. Whenever I sit in a car, even if it's to just to go and get groceries, I'm going to play that song. That's my ultimate travel solo trip, whatever trip song. I love the entire wedding scenario. I think it's a cinematography gold. I love watching that movie. It's just, I can play any song, any sequence, any scene, and I know what's going to come up because I think by now I've memorized this movie and it always brings me to a good or a better place. So, yes, guys, these were the 20 recommendations. 20 recommendations of all the shows and movies that instantly bring me back or, take me to a good place or to a better place mental health wise. And they all have a very special memory or a very special feeling attached to it. And I love going to these movies or these shows over and over again. Whenever I think I'm a little bit gloomy, whenever I think I have the wish or stamina to watch something. And I'm not saying you always need to watch things. If you feel like that maybe reading or maybe talking to other people or maybe even just oversleeping is something that's helping you and your mental health, go do that. But if you want to feel, if you want to watch something, if you want to sit in front of a screen and just enjoy and have a good time, even in these times, these are the recommendations. And if even one recommendation is something that you tried out and you felt really good about, please don't forget to write to me on my Instagram. My Instagram is Ananya2893, ANANYA2893. And you also can tell me what are your feel good shows and movies. Absolutely tell me. I think we all need to come together as a community to take care of each other and most importantly to take care of our own selves, because self-love is the key. I'm going to see you all in my next one. Bye.